What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Scoop on the U. We have got ourselves a recent Miami Hurricanes commit coming from the state of Minnesota. The last name will be familiar to Canes fans. This is Hunter Carver, his older brother Jackson Carver, who is currently a tight end at the University of Miami. I'm excited to have him on here, man. Very excited to have him on. What's up, Hunter? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Want everybody to know Hunter is coming in as a tight end and a defensive lineman. He's shown the ability to play both sides of the ball very, very well. We would know versatility is a big deal in college football right now, so it's exciting to have a guy that we know is coming in who understands two separate positions on both sides of the ball. It's fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Hunter. It's great to have you on here and let Canes fans get a little more familiar with you.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
I always like to start off with what's your current height and weight right now?
Right now I'm 6'4", 230.
Okay. Is that a comfortable playing weight for you?
I'm looking to gain more weight. I had an injury last fall during the football season, so I've definitely lost weight since then. But yeah, I'm trying to get that weight back up right now.
Gotcha. Are you working with any trainers this offseason?
So right now I'm in lacrosse season, actually. Okay. So doing all those practices and games. And then we have a trainer at our school who works through Training House. It's a local place in Minnesota, same place Jackson worked out at and trained for. So yeah, we have someone who works with Training House works at our school. They have people branch out to different schools. So working with him and then going to the actual Training House facility and doing work there on top of the lacrosse commitments.
How do you feel the game of lacrosse has helped you on the football field?
I definitely feel like it's obviously a physical sport, same with hockey. Definitely that physicality is key. And also footwork. I play defense, so reacting to attackmen moving left and right and engaging contact and bouncing off of me. So definitely that footwork, and then also communication on the field. Lacrosse, when you play defense, communication is a huge thing. And same with football, pre-snap, knowing what kind of reads the defense is giving you or if the offense is shifting. So definitely that ability to communicate with my teammates and talk through different kind of in lacrosse, like screens or picks or whatnot. So definitely the footwork, physicality, and communication.
Are you going to be focusing on anything in the weight room before you want to get into the Hurricanes football program?
I definitely want to so I mentioned the injury I had in the fall season. Yeah. I definitely it was on my ankle. So I definitely want to keep that rehab coming because I'm having some pain in lacrosse season. So keeping that rehab going and then also just lifting as much as I can in between practices.
How much time, when lacrosse is done, how much time are you going to have off before you have to start putting more physical weight back on that ankle?
Well, right now, so the state tournament, so lacrosse in Minnesota, it's a really short season. So we end school on May 30th is when I'll graduate. And then the state tournament is going to be June 14th. So I'll be playing, like, if our team goes that far, I'll be playing through the summer. And then my tentative date to move into Miami is June 13th. So, definitely I'll be getting right back on the weights right after that and getting back into football mode and just packing on weight.
And this is just speaking tight end talk here, but in terms of elite tight ends, maybe some that you've looked up to in the higher ranks of college or the NFL, what do you feel it takes to make an elite tight end mentally and physically? What are the traits that those guys have?
I think physically a trait is explosiveness, just being able to get off the line and shoot your hands and just to put all your power into somebody is key in the physical. And then also just being kind of on that mental side, being clear-headed and keeping, if you have a bad play, then just scrap that, move on to the next play. Because if you keep dwelling on that, it's not gonna. Your next play could be the same exact thing if you just keep thinking about that mistake. So definitely explosiveness and just kind of a next play mentality.
I like that mentality. What gets you most excited on game day? Is it a pregame thing that you go through, or anything that happens specifically on the field? What gets Hunter really pumped up on game day?
So I try to stay away from like rituals and all that because I kind of want to stay loose and my mind to be free on game day. I like to go into the stadium before games and just feel the atmosphere out, see the fans. But yeah, definitely not like a strict schedule on game days or anything. I'll obviously eat right. I need to get good sleep. It's a huge thing for me. But yeah, I'm not huge on rituals, but just kind of feeling out the stadium and the atmosphere there.
And we spoke a little bit about, what are some of the traits for the tight ends, that you've seen that are playing at a high level in college and the NFL. Just kind of curious, at tight end and defensive lineman, who are some of your favorite players you look up to and why?
So I'm obviously a Vikings fan. So my first tight end I really was familiar with was Kyle Rudolph. So
Yeah.
just kind of how he played, being able to block and run routes. And then on defensive line, Lawrence Taylor at the outside linebacker positions. Kind of when I first started playing outside linebacker DN, that's when my dad was showing me highlights of him, how he was setting the edge. So definitely those two.
If you had to describe your game to somebody who's never seen your film or never seen you play live, how would you describe your game to them?
I would say I play free. Just like Jackson when he came into Miami, he really only had 1 year of experience. It's the same with me. I started senior year playing football, so I wasn't like huge on. I didn't know all like exactly the techniques. I was just going out there playing free and just my main focus was getting off the ball as fast as I can and striking with my hands as hard as I can. And the rest I felt like would take care of itself. So.
Getting into recruiting, what was it like for you in recruiting, with contact with Miami? How long were you in contact with them before you decided to make the pull?
So over the summer, obviously, since I've known the coaches since Jackson's been recruited,
Yeah.
but over the summer I went to the Legends camp there, and I played really well there. And then they told me at that camp they want to see how what I showed at the camp is going to translate on my film in the real season, the real live games. And I was played 5 games a season, then got injured, but I still had a good enough film to get that PWO. And then hearing from other schools, there's 2 things I wanted in college. I wanted to play football, and I also wanted to be able to serve in the military after. So where my college decisions went was either the service academies or a civilian college like Miami or any other state college, whatever, with an ROTC program. So kind of weighing those options, I got the ROTC offer. And so doing that down at Miami, and I felt like because it came down to between the United States Merchant Marine Academy up in New York or Miami with the ROTC. And I just felt that academically Miami would be a great fit for me, as well as the opportunities with my brother. I felt that I might look back and regret not taking this opportunity to play football with my brother one last time. So
yeah, totally understand. Speaking of your brother, actually, I'm kind of curious, what was some of the advice that he was able to give you during this recruiting process that was able to help you make your decision?
Right. He was helpful. But he obviously didn't want to like force any decisions on me. If it was his choice, he'd make me come to Miami right away. But he just wanted me to weigh the pros and cons of each and make the decision I felt best for me. And if it ended up being Miami, which it obviously did, then he would be supportive in that. And anything that I needed to do when I was down here, he'd always be by my side and always be able to help me. But there'd be no bad blood if I chose anywhere else. He'd totally understand because he wants the best for me.
What coaches and people on the staff at the University of Miami have you got a chance to really get to know so far?
So the first coach that really recruited me was Coach Maloof. And then it kind of moved to Coach Brown and also Coach Woodle. So I'd say Coach Brown and Coach Woodle, 2 main people right now.
Okay. Now, with Coach Cristobal, the head coach, he's naturally kind of an offensive line coach already, embedded in himself. You being a tight end, being in charge of blocking at times and in charge of also, catching passes, but the blocking side of it, having a head coach that understands blocking and wants to focus on that kind of stuff, was that important to you? Did that make any factor in your decision?
For sure. I definitely when making decisions, I wanted to go to the school that I felt would develop me best. So that reputation, even all the coaches, not even just Cristobal. I mean, Coach Cristobal is amazing with the O line and the blocking schemes. But all their coaches around, I wanted to go where I'd be developed best, and definitely those traits of the coaches weighed in on my decision.
Ultimately at the end of the day, when you had all your discussions with the staff and, with your family and stuff, why was Miami the best fit for Hunter Carver?
Miami was the best fit for me because of the academic possibilities. I'm going in finance and real estate,
Okay.
and so I felt that was a huge. I mean, academic come first, and also the ROTC program is strong down here, and I felt a lot of support from the ROTC department. And like I mentioned earlier, the opportunity with Jackson to be able to share the field with him. I thought that maybe because I mean this decision was really hard for me on where to go at the end of the day, and so I felt that I might regret this opportunity if I didn't take this chance with my brother.
I got 3 words for you, and I want to know what these 3 words mean to you. Miami Hurricanes football. What do those 3 words mean to you, Hunter?
Swagger.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram and all that. I see on YouTube all these videos, all these Ray Lewis, the Sean Taylors, the Ed Reed. I love the energy it brings and the how dedicated and loyal the fan base is. That's what it means to me.
When you get a chance to start focusing back on football again, what are you going to want to focus on in terms of kind of the technical side of the aspect of the game?
I think I mentioned it earlier, but just being explosive, and also getting that power. Right now, it's during lacrosse season, so in the Minnesota State High School League, there's a rule where you can't do any team sports on Sundays. So Sundays are always off. So one of my buddies, he's going Division I up here in Minnesota, University of St. Thomas, and me and him meet up on Sundays and get work in, get pad work, and he's a defensive lineman too. So that I'm trying to work that in right now with lacrosse season. But when I'm full focused on football after the season, I definitely want to work on my explosion.
At the tight end position this last season, what kind of stats did you put up? I know you said you played a limited amount of games, yeah?
Right. I played 5 games this season, all defensive line.
Okay.
My junior year is when I played tight end,
Okay.
but I was a transfer then, so I wasn't eligible to play varsity.
Gotcha. How was it for you on the defensive side this last season?
It was a learning experience, definitely, because it's going from the tight end position.
Yeah.
But I felt my coach was great. We had a whole new coaching staff this year, and I felt he really helped me develop and brought stuff down to a level that me and a couple other guys who were new to D line this year could understand, and made it easier for us to learn.
Speaking of coaches, in this part of the interview, what I like to do is I like to give recruits, commits, whoever's on here, kind of a chance to shout out, coaches, parents, trainers, anybody who's helped them out along the way. Feel free to show them some love.
Right. So I mentioned training house earlier. I had a few knee injuries last year during my junior year, and then this year with my ankle injury. So definitely Brady, Tyler, Chad over at training house been huge help to me. Coach Leach, the defensive lineman coach at St. Thomas that I talked about, he really helped me and my teammates learn the position because there was a few of us that were new. Our new head coach this year, Coach Walsh, he was really supportive of me and anything I wanted to do and excited for me wherever I was going to go. And then also my junior gold hockey coach, Mr. McCarthy, Coach McCarthy, he allowed me to play free because hockey is obviously a physical game. I get physical, and he was always encouraging that stuff, and he loved that. So just having my back was great.
So you mentioned hockey, you've mentioned lacrosse. How many sports have you played throughout, your lifetime so far?
So I wrestled in middle school for a year. That was obviously hard because it's same season as hockey, so I could really only do that for 1 year. I wanted to try it for a year.
Yeah.
And then sixth grade, I played basketball for a year. Me and Jackson both tried that out the same year, and we were both too physical for the sport and just got fouled out about every game. Um, I've golfed not like as a team sport on like any high school or actual like official teams, but golf with buddies all the time over the summer, and then hockey, lacrosse, football.
Outside of football, you mentioned, golf and stuff like that. Any other hobbies that you really like to enjoy to kind of, clear your mind a little bit and relax?
I have my English bulldog. I really love hanging out with him. He's aggressive, so he wants to wrestle all the time. I love just kicking back with friends and hanging out. I'm not really a big party or anything. I just like to chill and be low key.
Go ahead and let the fans know about your social media accounts. Where can they find you online?
Yeah, so Instagram, I'm hunter.carver1, and then Twitter, I'm Carver Hunter.
Okay, easy enough. Well, I got one last question for you here, Hunter, and this is a question I ask everybody that comes on this show. This is always the last question, whether it's a current player, recruit, commit, AD, trainer, everyone gets the same last question. Why do you love the game of football? What makes you want to go out on a weekly basis and compete at the highest level possible?
I think that comes from the competitive aspect that, I grew up with two brothers, so we're always anytime we can get in a competitive game, basketball, just wrestle, like stuff my parents didn't like us doing all the time, but just that competitive aspect, and being able to compete with everybody and being physical. I've been gifted with a nice frame to be able to compete and hit people hard. I like to be aggressive, and I'm also super competitive from growing up with two brothers.
It's an answer I often get, basically I'm able to put hands on somebody and not get in trouble,
Right, exactly.
Well, Hunter, man, I really, really appreciate you taking this time to jump on here and let Canes fans get a little more familiar with you. We are really excited to have you at the University of Miami, and it's really, really dope that you're going to get this chance to play with your brother at the University of Miami. That's got to be really exciting.
For sure. I'm really excited. I can't wait.
Well, Hunter, man, once again, thank you for joining on here, or for jumping on here, and it's all about the U.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. No problem. We'll speak soon.
Of course. Take care.
You too. All right, guys, that was one of our most recent additions to the Miami Hurricanes football team, Hunter Carver. Like I had mentioned, he plays tight end and defensive line, so he's got he's got the traits on both sides there, and he's shown some upside at tight end and at DL, especially being such a raw player playing DL, coming into it as he did, not with really any experience, but showing some upside with it. It's not an easy thing to do right away. So that's pretty impressive, honestly. It's pretty damn impressive. I'm really happy we had the chance to have him jump on the scoop here for a little bit, just so he could get a little more familiar with the Miami Hurricanes fan base and all that stuff, and the Miami Hurricanes fan base could get a little more familiar with Hunter. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll be back soon.